there, I'm Karen Marie, and this is Psyched Up for Sunday, October 18th, 2020. So today's a very special day for me because today is the day 36 years ago in 1984, when I was 21 years old, that I received my Gohonzon, which is the talisman, the scroll that I chant to in my Buddhist practice. And it's when I began to have a regular spiritual practice every morning and every evening of chanting. So I've been guided to talk a little bit about my story, about what was going on and how I discovered Buddhism, and also to talk about the current transits and to channel with those. So that's what's going to be on board for today. So just to give you a little backdrop. So in 1978, when I was 15 years old, my father committed suicide by putting a gun to his head. He was an upwardly mobile oil executive, and we had moved into our beautiful 3,800 square foot custom built home the year before. So he had all the trappings of success with his work and dream home. And there were no prior attempts. It was out of the blue one morning, and it rocked my world. And so at 15, I began to ask, why are we here on this planet? What's life about? Obviously, success and money, and that doesn't make you happy. Like, that was the lesson I took away from my father's death. But it also launched me on a deeper spiritual search. I had grown up Episcopal. We were always in church every Sunday. Both of my parents were very, very, very involved. So we virtually never missed a Sunday being in church. I did church camps in the summertime when I was in high school. I also did spiritual retreats that I loved. Singing songs around campfires and such was one of my favorite experiences. But I have to say that personally, I always felt weird trying to pray to God because I felt like I was praying to Santa Claus. Like, I didn't feel like there was this he male energy that I could feel on the other side. I was going through the motions. I did enjoy when we passed the peace at church and felt each other's love for each other and singing. I love that about church. So then I go into college. I come to the University of Texas, which is what brought me to Austin in 1981. Started off as a business major, changed my major a bazillion times, at least 5. And the second semester of my junior year ended up in the local mental hospital, Shoal Creek, because I got catatonically depressed. What I now know was that it was PTSD from my father's death and suicide. And there wasn't that term being tossed around at that point in time. They put me on heavy doses of an antidepressant, which made me feel catatonic. And I made the first intuitive decision of my life when I left the hospital to toss my meds down the toilet, because something within me knew that my brain chemistry was off, because I also had an eating disorder and was eating like crap. And so I didn't know what to replace what I needed for medicine, but I knew that what they'd give me, 350 milligrams of an antidepressant that left me catatonic, was not it. So I went back to the Dallas area. I graduated from high school in Duncanville, Texas. So I went back to that area after I got out of the hospital, because being there for 7 weeks, I had to unroll out of UT. And I went to go hang out with my high school flute teacher, private lesson teacher, and her husband, who was in a band. And I went out with her one night to go hear him play. And some mutual friends of theirs, Laurel and Jeff Bennett, came out to that gig. They were Buddhist. And Laurel began excitedly to tell me about Buddhism in this club with loud music playing. And I could see she was so excited about what she was trying to tell me, but I got nothing. Like, I could see her mouth moving. I could feel the excitement. I could not understand anything she was saying, except for, do you want to come to a Buddhist meeting sometime? I'm like, yeah, sure. All bets were off at that point. I wasn't in school anymore. I didn't have a job yet. Like, okay, Buddhist meeting, sure, I'll go. And so I went actually with my flute teacher. We both went to this Buddhist meeting, and it was in Laurel and Jeff's home. When I walked in, there was a group of people, also musician friends of theirs mostly, that were chanting this strange mantra I'd never heard of. I was looking around for statues of the Buddha. There wasn't any. I mean, I love to have images of the Buddha around me now, but there were none. They were all chanting to this Gohonzon, this scroll in their home. And so they handed me this card that said Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. That was the mantra they were chanting, which I knew I had no idea what that meant, but they just invited me to join in and to chant along with them. So I did. I began chanting with them in the space of 10 minutes of chanting with this group of people, a mantra that I did not know what it meant. I tapped in to exhilarating joy. Like I had never felt that joyful. And I had goosebumps everywhere, and I felt empowered. And like for someone who had just been hospitalized for 2 months, to feel that level of joy was off the chain. And so then I began to ask questions like, what does this mantra mean? And so they told me that the mantra meant Nam, meant to devote your life to or to fuse yourself with. Myoho meant mystic law. They were not praying to Buddha. They weren't even praying to this piece of paper. They were chanting. They told me that the Gohonzon was like a mirror, that it reflected enlightenment, because the Nichiren, who had first inscribed a Gohonzon in the 1200s in Japan, had been in an enlightened state. And so he had basically, that life state had been captured in the original Gohonzon. And that when we chant to this Gohonzon, we can tap into our Buddha nature. So Myoho is mystic law, this mysterious essence that permeates the universe. Renge is cause and effect. And Kyo is sounds, rhythms, and vibrations. So long story short, to chant the mantra means to bring out your own Buddha nature and to fuse your life with the rhythm of the universe, right? Renge, cause and effect, is symbolized by the lotus flower, which produces its blossoms and its seeds at the same time. So it symbolizes that when you set this cause of chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, you plant the seeds of Buddhism in your life. And over time, the more you chant, it's like putting money in a bank account. It accumulates and creates fortune for your life. And over time, that fortune just gets bigger and bigger, like the roots of a tree. And and I have definitely experienced that my fortune has shown up. And I mean, I feel like my fortune shows up the most in the lives of my 6 beautiful, healthy, amazing children. My youngest of which will be 18 in April, and my oldest will be 34 in December. So I started chanting before any of them were born. So the other thing that was paramount to me, like grabbing hold of it, was this concept that everyone has a Buddha nature. I got behind that right from the first time I heard it. Yeah, that seems right. And that there is this mystic law that permeates the universe. That's, to me, if someone asked me what God is, that's what it is. It's this myoho, this mystic energy, which felt good. They weren't asking me to pray to something that I felt weird about. We weren't praying to Buddha. We weren't praying to this scroll. The chanting, they said the difference between prayer in the Judeo-Christian world and prayer as a Buddhist is prayer in the Judeo-Christian world is beseeching the divine for help, asking for help from the divine, begging basically for help. And then in Buddhism, you're making a vow, you're setting a determination. You're saying, I will do this. I am a Buddha. I do see this person healed. It's a different way to approach prayer, which also felt super powerful for me. Another concept that was mind-blowing at the beginning of my Buddhist practice was this concept that your environment is a reflection of yourself. Good news and bad news on that front. So the bad news is you can't blame anyone else for your life and your karma. And even the way other people treat you is a reflection of your karma. So if people are angry and raging at you, there's some sort of internal cause you've set to create that. It could be in past lives. It doesn't necessarily have to be in this lifetime. or there's something within you that believes you don't deserve to be treated well or something. It could, drill down. There's all kinds of reasons, but just the basic concept of not blaming others. Like up until that point, like it was easy to blame my father's death for the way my life was, and my mother who'd been cold and not affectionate or not supportive emotionally to me. It was her fault. It was his fault. Oh, it's my karma that I picked these parents and had this set up to learn these lessons. Wow, okay. That was powerful. Um, the fact that everyone had a Buddha nature, like, yes, that was powerful. And two prayers, well, the having a spiritual practice, that was other like in I went to church on Sundays. That was a spiritual practice. We go to church on Sundays, we pray, then I sing creed and all the things that we pray. And then that's it. That's a spiritual practice, church on Sundays. This was like we chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo as much or as often as you need and can. We also recited part of the Lotus Sutra, which were the original Buddha's words. And in the Lotus Sutra is where the Buddha says that everyone has the potential for enlightenment. Basically, everyone is a Buddha. Nichiren Daishonin, who formed this sect of Buddhism, was in the 1200s in Japan and was studying all the Buddha sutras and determined that it was in the Lotus Sutra where the Buddha said everyone has the potential for enlightenment, everyone's a Buddha, that was the core. And so he began chanting the title of the Lotus Sutra, Myoho Renge Kyo, and then adding Nam to it. So we recited part of the Lotus Sutra in Chinese Sanskrit in the morning. We call that Ganyo. We did that in the morning and the evening, and we chanted as much Daimoku, chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo over and over again. It's called Daimoku, as much Daimoku as I can, as anyone can. So I had a spiritual practice at 21, chanting in the morning and chanting in the evening. Now, my life was all over the place. Did I do that consistently every day in the beginning? Oh, no, I didn't. But what I began to notice right away is that the days that I chanted, the days that I plugged in to my higher self, things would have a flow to it. And the days that I didn't chant, I would like be hitting brick walls and stuck in frustration. And the process of chanting every day leads to what we call in Buddhism your human revolution. It's just a transformation of the insides of yourself, which then reflects outside. So that's the good news of your environment reflecting yourself, is that when you change yourself deep within, your environment shifts. If you've got a conflict going on outside of you, there's something within your own life that you can transform that will therefore then change your environment. Mind blowing to me at that time. And I've seen that over and over and over again. No, this is real. This really is an amazing truth, a principle that worked. And then I had a tool to tap into that and utilize it and bring that life state out. So that's sort of my story of my Buddhist practice. And the special day today is the day that I received my Gohonzon 36 years ago today. Kind of amazing. Allergies have been bad here in Austin, Texas. Ragweed has been high. Grasses are high. Elm trees are high. Molds are high. It's a beautiful place to live. But if you've got any allergy suffering like me, like I woke up completely congested today. I'm feeling it still today. So if I'm got the dark circles under my check eyes, I have a predisposition to that anyway. It's all about my sinuses and allergies right now. So anyway, that I wanted to share that about Buddhism. And I approach my psychic work from a spiritual place. I feel like everyone has a Buddha nature. I also believe that everyone is intuitive. That's the whole message behind my business name, Psyched Up, is that I believe that everyone can get in touch with your own intuition and bring that out, turn up the volume, as it were. Some of us naturally have a volume that's turned up louder when it comes to intuition, and other people's volumes are turned down or off. But I believe everyone has intuitive abilities, and it shows up in a myriad of ways. When I first started trying to develop my abilities, I tried to see my spirit guides with no luck, zero luck. But there's people who are very visual. They can see people's auras. They can see spirit guides. They can see ghosts. They have a visual connection in a psychic way. Other people like me are empaths, feel other people's feelings. There's telepaths where you can know what other people are thinking. I had a client one time that came and said, like, I walk into a room and I can hear everyone's thoughts. How do I turn that off? And I'm like, well, you've got a gift there. And one of the things you need to do is embrace it. But I'm glad I don't have that particular gift, just in terms of how negative people's minds are, that I wouldn't want to have to hear what people are thinking on a regular basis. It's bad enough feeling what people are feeling. So one of the things that my spiritual practice, I believe, is when we chant, we raise your life condition. Any spiritual practice will pull you up out of the collective, I think. So the collective is the collected energies of everyone that's alive and awake now on the planet. So the collective lately with the pandemic is steeped in fear and anxiety and anger and sadness and grief. And if you don't grab a tool, excuse me, to raise yourself up out of that, you can be bowled over by it, which is what I feel so much. So many people, especially isolated in their homes, are feeling horrible depressions and just don't feel good in lots of ways. And it's not all just what's going on in your life. It very well may be that you are empathic and are tapped into the collective and are just feeling that very viscerally. So for me, I've been chanting for 36 years. I also do quiet meditation practices where I just am still and I breathe. I breathe in the divine light. I breathe out any funk in my body. I just search internally and see if there's anything I'm holding on to emotionally, if there's anything that feels out of sorts in my body. I can do that through silent meditation as well. I also will do that review within myself while I'm chanting. I'll send prayer out to others when I'm chanting. People will just cross my radar when I'm chanting and they get that daimoku. That's where I send the energy. And it feels like to me, like when you ring a bell, the sound waves go out eternally. That's what I feel that's so powerful about chanting and making a sound, is that you're sending that highest vibration of the Buddha nature out into the entire world. So it's not only raising my own life when I do that, I feel like I'm literally sending out helpful prayer to others that feels way more powerful than if I just do a shout out like, hey, I hope this person feels better. There's just something powerful about that to me. So that I believe is all I feel like saying about my Buddhist practice in this special day. I do feel like it's important to grab a spiritual practice and use it and utilize a tool on a regular basis. Like I said, even if that's just closing your eyes, breathing in divine light, breathing out the funk in your body. That's one of the most basic ways to just connect. I approach my work from a spiritual platform. I stopped doing readings at psychic fairs 20 years ago. That's where I started basically doing readings at psychic fairs and the readings at New Age bookstores when I was 25 years old. But the last time I did a psychic fair, I looked around the room and there was maybe 3 psychics in the room that I would get readings with myself, and the rest of the psychics were at a lower vibration. And I felt like the woman to the left of me was saying, well, I think blah, 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 blah. I think blah, 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 blah. I think blah, blah, blah. I kept hearing her all day long. I was thinking to myself, I think is your opinion. That's not a psychic reading. That's not coming from your intuition. It's coming from your brain. People are paying her for what she thinks. That's different. And then the woman to the right of me was giving the same canned spiel to everyone. I can look into your eyes and see everything that's going on in your life. Like hearing that over and over and over again all day long. That was it for me. And then there was a woman with makeup I could see from the other side of the room trying to psychically attack me and keep clients from coming to me. And I'm like, I'm done with this. Nope, not going to do this. And I haven't worked a psychic fair ever since. It's been 20 years. I've been doing psychic readings for 32 years, but it's all been word of mouth and referral since I left the psychic fair venues. So, because it was so important to me to do my work from a spiritual platform and to really tap into that higher spirit in my clients and not just help someone with lottery numbers or just lower vibrational stuff I had no interest in. Neither did I have interest in telling my clients who weren't listening to anything that was coming through the same thing over and over and over again. I have let clients like that know, like, if I'm telling you the same thing that I told you last reading and the reading before and the reading before you, you were wasting your money and my time, getting readings. So I won't hang with, it's not worth it to me to do that. So, all right, that's all I have to say about that subject. Let me go on to the astrology right now. So the sun right now is at 26 degrees of Libra. So there's 29 degrees in a sign. So it's in the last degrees of Libra. So it's been highlighting relationships as the sun has moved through Libra. And then it's when we get to like less than 29, 3 days from now, it's the summation of the lessons that the sun has been trying to teach us as it's moving through Libra. I'm going to talk like that. So I'm for one grateful that I'm not in a relationship right now because Mercury has been retrograde. It will be retrograde up until November 3rd, election day. And whenever a planet stops to turn forward or backwards, and they're not really going backwards. It's like the image is if you're driving in a car and you pass someone, you're going faster than them. As you pull away, if you looked in the rearview mirror, it looks like they're going backwards. That's sort of the optical illusion that's going on with a retrograde planet. But still, when a planet stations to go forward or backwards is when it's in its most powerful state. So Mercury, which rules our head, it rules our communication of all sorts, verbal conversations, emails, letters in the mail, any way you would communicate with someone is affected when Mercury goes retrograde. It also rules transportation. So cars can go down, travel plans can get jacked. It rules technology. So computers, phones can have glitches and go belly up and have problems during Mercury retrograde. Classic to have misunderstandings and disagreements when Mercury goes retrograde. Um, it just can be really difficult just from my own life in this last week. So I've had computer glitchy things. I was on a Zoom meeting this week and we got bombed by people jumping into the meeting and interfering that weren't supposed to be there. I had my youngest son is a musician. I went out to his gig on Friday night, took a whole lot of pictures, a whole lot of videos. When I got back home, my phone kind of turned off and on. And when it turned back on, all my pictures were gone. All the videos were gone. And I was like, oh no, I didn't even get to upload them yet. Thankfully, Google Photos had already backed up all my photos and videos. So I just turned around and downloaded again the videos and was able to post them up on my Facebook wall. So if you're one of my Facebook friends, go look I posted like 5 different videos from his very fabulous band, Tinted Vision. So they're going to be some big stars someday. So you can go check that out. But that's one way where Mercury retrograde has showed up with that glitchy thing with my photos all getting knocked off my phone. But it's really wreaking havoc in people that are in relationships of all kinds, business relationships, personal relationships primarily can be really negatively affected, especially if communication is already not really good. And Mercury's in Scorpio. So Scorpio is the deep, dark waters. It's like hidden secrets. The low vibration of Scorpio is the scorpion with the stinger. So people's stingers could be out and just really, reacting from a low vibrational way with each other. You can have surprising information come out because Scorpio rules secrets. So with Mercury retrograde, secrets can come out for everybody, like on a national level, global level, and personal relationships that can be happening. It will back up into Libra before it starts going back. So that also will then be going back. And Scorpio is a relationship sign, and so is Libra. So this Mercury retrograde is really wreaking havoc mostly on relationships. It could also be a time of great discovery. It rules your head. So you can be having realizations around how you've thought about things too. What you believe to be true can be transformed and altered. So another higher vibrational energy of the Scorpio is the Phoenix, which is death and rebirth, right? So that's a higher vibration. So with Mercury retrograde, there can be some deaths in the way things are communicated and some rebirth. That can be a powerful way. And then the eagle is the top echelon of Scorpio. And the eagle's ability to rise above and to look down and be able to observe and see things from a higher perspective. So there's also that a beautiful thing that can be happening with this Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. You can look at it as a way to see things that you might not have been able to see before. But it's been intensive. And I really predict that because it doesn't go direct until election day, and that's when it can really be shift, that I don't feel like we're going to know fully who is president until after the fact. Part of that is also because Mars is also retrograde. Mars goes direct November 13th. So Mars represents our ego, also how we move in the world, how we put energy into things. And so with Mars being retrograde, you can just feel like you don't have the energy for putting things in. Everything just takes so much more effort to move forward. So again, I feel like it may be closer to the middle of November before we actually get a full confirmation on who is our next president here in the United States. And I've been feeling for a long time that Biden is going to win in a landslide. I'll go out on a limb and go ahead and state my prediction. In that way, I've been getting that for months. I try not to get too much into politics, and really focus more on humanity and spirituality. But that's what I see. That's what I've been feeling in this cards, and intuitively, it just, as I get hits on things, that's what I see happening. And also I see that happening because the outer planets, Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter, are all in Capricorn. They've been together in the sky since January, moving, they've been retrograde or whatever, but they've been in the same area of the skies since January when they first teamed up, right? So I knew going into this year, before we even got here, that we were headed into unprecedented times because these three have not been together in the skies like this for 4,000 years. So it's been like since the beginning of Babylon, since these planets were together in the skies. So Jupiter expands things. Pluto is death and transformation. Saturn is our rules, our constitution, our laws, the boundaries that we set. In Capricorn is the, the earth. It's an earth sign. It's also our patriarchal structure that we've had in this society for hundreds of years. And so Pluto is transforming this old patriarchal where the men rule over the women, and the people with the most money are the winners, and that, because it's stuff. Capricorns are stuff. And so with Pluto and Saturn close together, Pluto may have been demoted as a planet, but it will transform whatever it gets close to. And in this case, it's transforming our laws, our structures, how we form things. And then Jupiter shines a big light and expands things. So this energy, this intensity is being brought out. And so I believe that our current government here in the United States is a reflection of this old system being brought to the light, the parts of the system that have not worked. Also, our institutions are also represented by Saturn in Capricorn. And of course, our institutions are changing. What's happening with our institutions, our schools, is like people are having to like school from home and they can't actually go to the like, so we're having this transformational happen. I believe our current president is a reflection of this old way of doing things, where money and power, and if you're a man, you're the winner, and that everybody else is a loser. I feel like that's an old paradigm that's being brought to its knees. Um, so I've felt, because of this transformation, and then the outer planets are moving into Aquarius. Saturn and Jupiter will move into Aquarius in the next few months. Pluto doesn't get there till 2024. So it will continue the deconstruction of what we've known, all the Capricorn things we've known for the next 4 years. But Saturn represent, I mean, Saturn in Aquarius is then the movement of our rules and our structures to be about humanity, not about our stuff and our things as it is in Capricorn. It's about human beings being most important. So with that, the outer planets, Saturn and Jupiter moving into Aquarius, I felt like there was going to be a shift in the presidency because of the planets. Just like I knew that there was going to be some sort of unprecedented thing that was going to be happening in 2020. I didn't know what that was initially, but from the very first report I heard of what was going on in Wuhan, I knew then instantly it's going to be a pandemic. So, and I feel like the pandemic will go on at least through 2021. That how things have been now are going to be kind of continuing for at least another year or so. That's another thing that I've been feeling for a while, so that we won't ever be going back to the way things were when Pluto transformed. Something like, how is something left after a hand grenade goes off? Like, that's basically Pluto is doing to our structures and our world. The good news is these towers of Babel are being brought down so that new life can be born, so that there can be a balance between the masculine and the feminine energies on the planet, and we can move into a time where everyone is important, everyone is valued, everyone has that divine within. There's no people that are better or less than based on the money you make or what you do for a living. We all inherently have the divine within us. We also have the fundamental darkness within. So we have this range. In Buddhism, we talk about a range of life conditions from hell to Buddhahood. And that's not after you die, that's right here in a body. And in every life condition, your environment is reflection from that. So when you're in the state of hell, you look like hell, you feel like hell, your environment is hell. And when you're in Buddhahood, you are enlightened and you're happy and joyful and you have wisdom and you have compassion for others, and people bring offerings to the Buddha, and your land turns into the Buddha land. So that's sort of the long range thing. So I feel like we're going to be moving into a new paradigm, and that's why I feel like there'll be a new president that comes from the heart and cares more about people, just based on astrology, not on politics. Because I don't see Trump as someone who comes from the heart. To me, he's someone who is self-serving and represents. It kind of reminds me of my father, who, thought that what's going to make you happy is success and power in the world, and that wasn't it. So I think Trump has some hard lessons coming his way as well in the future. All right, what else do we have going on? So we have Mars, already said. Not only is Mars retrograde in Aries, it won't move into Taurus until January. So when it turns to station to go forward in the middle of November 13th, I think 14th, somewhere in there, we'll probably feel some aggression. Like, I'm really feeling that however the elections do end up, that there's going to be some overreaction, some negative reaction because of the Mars energy. And it can really be testiness. Yeah. Black Lilith has been at 29 degrees of Aries this week. It will move into Taurus, a new degree, a new sign. So it's been going over Aries, which represents ourselves. Like, what are our primal fears about our own selves, our own egos, our own lives. And it'll be moving into Taurus, which will be affecting more your fears around finances and what you hold dear. But I think it'll feel better moving through Taurus than it has moved through Aries. It's been really highlighting people's primal fears. And Mars has been, Mars has been dancing with Mars. So it'll move away from Mars for a little bit. Eris, which is a war goddess, is right there conjunct Mars as well. So she's adding to the fire party. And Mars, the planet of war, is squaring off with this stellium in Capricorn. So the good news is, once these planets start shifting out, this is the worst period of our entire lifetimes. And so when we get through this, we won't have to revisit this level of intensity. And if you can learn the lessons if you can tap into your Buddha nature right now in the middle of the darkest times, then you can bring out the light in the middle of it. Two prayers that I pray, no matter if I'm facing something I don't know how to transform, it's something's negative in my life, either for myself or someone else. I either chant to turn poison to medicine or chant to turn an obstacle into a benefit, that the darkness, the negative thing that you're having to encounter can be the very fuel that puts you into a new place. So I feel like this darkest of times, in these dark times, can be some of the most powerful inner growth that we could ever have. So to me, that's how I'm looking at these times. It's been a year of great personal transformation for me this year. And call me psychic, but I was already doing 90% of my work over the phone before COVID hit. I was already homeschooling my youngest, who's done his whole lifetime homeschooling. I've homeschooled all 6 of my children. So I'm a pro at the homeschooling thing. That didn't rock my world either. So who knew the psychic would have a raft built for this flood? I didn't, but it was interesting how little that COVID has affected my personal life. And as a frenetically sensitive person, I was glad not to have to get out in the world and drive around in traffic. And Austin's been so much better because there's not as many people out in their cars. So I'm seeing lots of benefits to that. Of course, I don't have lack of feeling or empathy for people who are struggling, have lost their jobs, who have bad health and all that. But the best thing I can do is to bring my highest life condition into the situation, and so that the vibrations that I send out are positive. I feel like that's the best anyone can do. And if you're steeped in negativity and doubt and negative thoughts, you're going to feel like crap. You're going to be depressed. You're going to be angry and blaming other people. I see that all the time in readings. It's like people who are doing their inner work don't blame other people, whether you're a Buddhist or not, whether you've learned those or not. People who are owning their stuff are transforming their life. People who blame other people don't do their growth. They don't have their inner work going on. And so I see it so much in relationships, personal relationships primarily, but business work relationships as well, that if you're in a relationship with someone who's not doing their inner work, who's ignoring the things that they need to do to change their life, they're going to be blaming you, and they're going to be projecting their unresolved stuff onto you, right? That's another thing I see that our current president is doing. I have never heard him one time own anything or accept responsibility. He's blaming others always. And that tells me personally, he has not done his inner work. So, but, abusive relationships, I see it so much, is that it's the people who have deep, dark places within that they've not healed, that are just angry at the world, and they're going to take it out on the people that's closest to them. There's nothing more crazy making than someone calling you out for the very things that they do or think or say, and making it be like, you do this, you do, and I went crazy in past relationships trying to defend myself from these kind of accusations. So, and Mercury retrograde wreaked havoc in my past relationships. When it would go retrograde, OMG. These relationships really went further south. So I feel super protected that I'm not in a relationship right now with these awful times. I also got a hit I have a friend who's been trying to get pregnant, and it dawned on me a couple weeks ago that, wait a minute, if you had a baby during this time, they're going to come in with this gnarly astrology for their birth chart. Like, no. So it's better to wait till some of these ships pass and the seas part and skies clear. I think even conception astrology affects a soul. That's a whole different thing that I've just started to chew on. But anyway, so that I'm going to throw that out there. All right. So we have Venus in Virgo. Venus in Virgo wants to attend to the details. Um, I heard another astrologer I follow talk about Virgo as a verb. You can Virgo that. You can Virgo your closet. You can Virgo your diet. You can look at how you can clean up. But Virgo represents our health, our body. So when Venus is there, there is an extra call and attention to making changes with your body, making changes with your diet, your exercise, your rest, your sleep, your daily groove, your daily routine. So if you've been shifting and changing that up, you're in rhythm. Venus is highlighting that being in Virgo right now. And she's across from Neptune. So it's opposing Neptune. Neptune is the psychic planet. I see it as the psychic radar. This Neptune and the moon, I see it are the most psychic planets. Neptune also represents our spirituality. It can also represent delusion and addiction. So there can be this cross hairs between, like, I feel like people with addictive things, that stuff is really being brought to a head right now. You're being really shown how mistreatment of your body or yourself is ruining your life. It's, again, the time to surrender. Go run into a 12-step program, get into therapy, find a healing modality that resonates for you, and do your inner work, and you can really shift that gnarly energy. Dreams can be vivid. Neptune can, affect your dreams. And so Venus across from Neptune can have super vivid dreams. You can be dreaming about people that you love as well. Let's see, what else do I see and feel like I need to talk about? Okay, the North Node's in Gemini. South node's in Sag. So the North Node is our collective pointing. Gemini, again, rules the head. It's ruled by Mercury. So a lot of the Mercury retrograde themes are kind of being hit with the North Node. Gemini is the twins. So it's the Jekyll Hyde. It rules the media. So we can not really know where we're hearing truth or fiction when it comes to media. It's also creativity and inventiveness. So with the North Node and Gemini, new inventions, new creativity, new forms of communication. Because, like, since the North Nodes have been going in Gemini, like, we've been doing more online things now. Not only do I do phone readings now, a lot of my readings now I've been doing via Zoom, which is cool. You actually get to see someone. So that's sort of new technology that I've introduced into my realm since the North Nodes moved into Gemini. So the South Node represents our collective karma, and where the collective is transforming things at a deep level. And Sag loves all people. It's also loves learning, and it loves travel. And so there's this collective changing maybe what we thought we knew or what we believed in. People are changing their beliefs. They're being willing to open up to new belief structures. Sometimes they're being forced to look at something else. Trust has been broken in whatever relationships, and they're having to look to new places. So the moon is right now in the last degrees of Scorpio. It'll be moving into Sag tonight. It'll be crossing over that South Node in the next couple days. So the moon highlights things and illuminates things. So, and it'll be across from this North Node in Gemini. So I feel, and with the Mercury in retrograde, I feel like there's still this theme of like secrets being revealed, surprise information hitting the airwaves, shocking events happening. Also, we have Mercury opposing Uranus this week. Now, Uranus shakes things up. It's unexpected, out of nowhere situations that can be disconcerting initially, but Uranus is a spiritual planet. So it may bring things down or break things open in a surprising way, but it's always to bring a higher teaching and bring you to a better place. It's in Taurus, so it's literally shaking up the earth. It can be a sudden you know, earth shattering thing. It's been wreaking havoc on the planet for the last 2 years since it's been in Taurus. Are, you know, it seems like everything's been escalated. The fires have been escalated. The hurricanes have been escalating. I feel still, I'm gonna keep saying that I feel earthquakes coming with Uranus in Taurus, and it's got another 5 years it'll be in Taurus. So this theme of shaking up the earth, but Taurus is also what we love in terms of like the Taurus energy is about the arts and about taking care of the land and taking care of your body. It also is about finances and our money. And so there could be sudden, unexpected things happening financially on a positive or a negative level. Again, whatever's happening is always to move us to a better place. With Mercury across from Uranus, though, it can really be just surprising communications, surprising things coming out. So I really see that this week, that there's going to be some sort of surprising jolting. Not that we haven't been having that already, but there's something additional coming, some deeper secrets revealed is what I feel about that. And you may be finding that personally, that all of a sudden you find something about your partner that you didn't know about, or you found something about a family member that you had no idea, that, you know, you get new information gets revealed. So that's what I feel led to talk about right now today. See if there's anything else I feel guided to say. Um, there's a lot of people seeking new pathways. Follow your intuition in that. Like, if you're not sure which direction to head, ask your higher self, your guides, to guide you. Make it loud and clear. That's one of my favorite prayers. Guide me loud and clear. Confirm it 3 different times what I'm supposed to do, where I'm supposed to go. Bring me that insight that I'm needing. Ask for what you need from your higher self, from your higher guides, and then be willing to shush and listen and receive. You can get up in your mind and figure yourself out into a box, come up with the most rational and logical conclusions, and then have them be completely off track. When you tap into your inner voice and follow your intuition, it will, I guarantee you, you'll be on the right path for your life. So if you're interested in donating to support my YouTube channel, you can do that by sending a donation through Venmo at Karen/Marie, or no, Karen-Marie-16, and that's Karen hyphen Marie hyphen 16. That's my Venmo. Has a picture of me playing the guitar. Or you can email me if you want a reading at bringoutthebuddha@gmail.com. That's BRINGOUTTHEBUDDHA@gmail. That's also the email that's hooked up to my PayPal account if you'd like to donate through that way. And that's usually how I receive payments for my psychic readings, my past life regressions, rebirthing sessions, psychic development sessions. I'm doing them all via Zoom or phone. And you can, that's how I receive payments these days. What else? Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Make a comment, hit like, share it with your friends. If you're a friend of mine on Facebook, comment and like and share it there too. I'd appreciate that. Get more traffic going. Yeah, we'll make it through these times. We really will. And we'll be better for it. We'll be in a new place, a new platform. This is the time. It's been a powerful year. It doesn't have to be a negative. It's all how you look at it, how you process it. Do your human revolution, do your work, and whatever tools that you pick up. Listen to your inner voice about that. Ask for the confirmation. Get a reading with me if you need a confirmation. Yeah, I hope you're doing well, staying safe, loving yourself, doing lots of self-care, right? Peace.